Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of our Creating Your Family's Digital Diet. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Hello, Ogodesh, Diva, Royalty, Think Kids, Ogechi, Eddie, Joyce, Deborah, Coco. All right, fantastic. Welcome. So we're going to jump right in. I love the fact that we have so many people that look forward to this conversation every Thursday. So welcome to Tech Thursday for Parents. And in general, what we talk about during this quick Tech Thursday conversations is about raising successful digital citizens. Now, that takes a lot in today's world. We're all in a digital world. Everybody's trying to figure it out. What is too much? What is not too much? How do we make sure our children know exactly what they need to do? But today, I want us to talk about a topic called diet, family digital diet. So before I jump in, let me quickly introduce myself for anybody who hasn't seen me online before. My name is Yeti Williams, founder, CEO of LagosMums. And I love talking about parenting because honestly, our role as parents is one of the most important we will ever have. And we are raising children to become adults who will be successful in the future. Now, parenting always has its own challenges. Parenting is one of the hardest things we will ever do. And the interesting thing is parenting today is even more challenging and even more tense, if you will, because of the digital age that we're in. Now, I don't want us to parent from a place of fear, confusion, or distraction, because if we do that, then it makes it very difficult for our children to get the best out of us and to get the best out of this season. So with that said, let me just do a quick check. I hope you can hear me fine. If you can hear me fine, just say sound is okay, internet is okay, and I'm connected well and we can get going. So let me give you a few seconds just to let me know if you can hear me fine. All right, can you just let me know if you can hear me before I keep going? Okay, great. So we're talking about creating your family's digital diet. And what does that mean? We all eat. Everybody eats food. Everybody needs to nourish themselves. But there's something about a healthy diet versus just a diet. A healthy diet means you get a little bit of all the nutrition that you need. Fruits, vegetables, protein, carbohydrates, oil, good fats, all of those things. And we would never consider feeding our children junk 24/7. No responsible parent or adult or caregiver would do that. Now, when it comes to digital diets, I want us to compare the two because the reality is we cannot say the internet is all bad, neither is being online all bad. It is really important, rather, that we know the right balance and that we raise our children to also understand having a healthy diet. So a healthy diet when it comes to digital means what are you consuming online? How long are you spending online? How much screen time is too much? Are we doing the right things online? Is the content we're consuming online, is it junk or is it healthy? So when you think of digital that way and you think of it as a diet, a mix of everything, it becomes less of a struggle. I don't know if you agree. Who else can relate? It becomes less of a struggle because all of us are struggling. The last year, the pandemic, all of us had to rely online to connect with other people. A lot of our children had to learn online. So online is a part of our lives. It's not going anywhere. But we want to talk about the concept of having our online consumption managed in the right way and in the right quantities. So I'm going to start by breaking down digital consumption into different buckets. Okay, so we've already set the stage for those that just joined. We've already set the stage that a digital diet, just think of it the same way you would think of a healthy diet for your family when it comes to food. you would eat a little bit of everything. You have to mix it in. You even have some junk food sometimes, right? Some pizza, some, fast food, pastries. You can't eat it every day, but it's all part of the mix. Ice cream, cake, So it's the same thing. We eat a little bit of everything. So let's think about that when we come to the digital space, when we are creating our family's digital diets, all the way from mommy and daddy, all the way down to your children, even your baby should be part of this family's digital diet concept. So I'm going to talk about 4 different areas of what you can be doing online, and then how do you mix it all in. Okay? Because not all digital is good and not all digital is bad. So it's about the right mix. The first bucket, if you will, the first nutrition group for digital dieting is learning. Our children, for example, are online. Our children are learning online. So what they are doing when they're in online school is very different from what they are doing online when they're just playing video games, for example. So you can't really compare digital consumption that's for education with digital consumption that's just watching videos back to back, that's not teaching them anything. So spending 2-3 hours a day, for example, in school, online, is a very different concept than being online consuming content that doesn't help them. So that's the first bucket, is what are they doing online? Are they learning? Is it educational? Is it tied to school? Or is it something that your child themselves want to learn? The beautiful thing with the internet today is any child can decide that he or she is interested in any topic in the world, and they can go and learn it themselves online. There's going to be somewhere online, once they Google, where they can find that information. So the learning bucket for online consumption is very important. We can't take it away from our children. We need to actually teach them and empower them so that they know how to use the internet to learn, how to consume content online that helps them to learn. So that's a good part of the digital diet. Our children should be using technology to their advantage. All right, so the next bucket I want to talk about is the entertainment/relaxation. So let's just look at a 24-hour period, and you have a child who's online learning. So maybe school, homework, workbooks online. There's so many things they can do to actually get educated online, whether it's guided by school or by themselves. But they have to have some time to relax and let their hair down and just chill. And that can also be done online. But it depends on what they're doing for entertainment. I'm sure we can agree that a child who plays a video game for 10 hours versus a child who plays video games for 1 hour, there will be very different results from how they behave afterwards. Excessive screen time is negative. It puts them in a bad mood. It causes eye problems, neck strain. There's a lot of bad sides to being in one position online for a very long time. So when it comes to entertainment and relaxation, once again, what are your children doing online? Not all entertainment is the same. So a child who's online, having a video call like this with a friend or family members where they're talking, they're engaging, is much more valuable and a better use of online time than somebody who's maybe just watching videos that are full of nonsense. So when it comes to entertainment online, you want to help your child as well to self-regulate, to know exactly what they are consuming when it comes to the entertainment and relaxation time of consuming content online. Let's be honest, parents. If you're always shouting, you're always online, get off, your child will start to hide from you. And you don't want them to hide. You want them to understand why you're putting controls in place. You want them to understand how to make the right decisions about what they do online, but you must do it together with communication. So give them examples of good entertainment online. You can watch a wholesome movie where there's a lesson behind it. Watch the movie together, then discuss it together. Your child could watch music videos online, clean versions. Maybe he or she likes a particular instrument. They can go online to see other people playing. So let's teach them how to make the right decisions in terms of what they watch, because they can see anything. They can watch anything. It's all out there. The people putting the content out there are not thinking necessarily whether or not a child is watching it. So it's your job to raise your child and teach your child how to watch appropriate things, even when it's for entertainment. So under the entertainment bucket of digital diet includes reading online books, audio, watching movies, listening to podcasts. There's a lot of things your children can do for entertainment online. And of course, there are video games, there's social media, there's a lot of things your children can do online when it comes to entertainment. And there's nothing wrong with entertainment. It just means that you need to make sure that they're doing it within the context that they should, within the time frame that you have set, and they understand why you've put these guides in place. So we've talked about digital including entertainment. We've talked about it including academics. So your children are going to learn online. We almost cannot avoid the online element when it comes to our children today. So those are two elements so far in our digital diet. Okay. The third one is about connection and networking. Now, this is really, really important. One of the things we saw as, practitioners and parenting coaches and therapists and, psychotherapists is that mental health challenges are on the increase, especially because of the lack of social interaction, which happened during the pandemic and lockdown. And also because our children, we're all social beings, but during this lockdown period and coronavirus and everything, a lot of us have had to stay home and stay away. The internet and digital tools and digital platforms have been a blessing as well if you've used it correctly. Children could stay in touch with their grandparents, could talk to neighbors, cousins, friends, and could still interact with people face to face using the screen. Well, not face to face, but you know what I mean, virtually. So using digital tools to connect to other people is fine, and it should be part of your family's digital diet. Once again, it's about the amount of time being spent online. Of course, a child who stays on Snapchat all day or house party all day, that's not what we're talking about. But your child should be allowed to spend some time online, engaging with their friends, connecting with their friends. It's kind of their way of connecting nowadays. So it's not, I don't believe it is practical to just say your child cannot be online. What you must do is put the right controls in place, have the right conversations with them, determine what age is the right age to get onto the platforms. Each platform has their own age limit. So you have to have your own age limit for your child and decide when do you want them to have a smartphone? When do you want them to get on social media? And have those conversations with them. Imagine when we were growing up, and the only thing we probably had growing up that we could use to connect with our friends was the phone, and you'd have to wait for a dial tone, and then you'd have to call your friends. If they picked up, you would gist for a while. Now imagine your parents didn't allow you to use the phone at all. Or on the flip side, you wanted to get on the phone and stay on the phone all day. Of course not. Nobody's going to allow you to do that. So let's see that it's about the balance, right? It's all about the healthy balance. It's not A or B. It's not yes or no. It is yes and no within the right context. So that's the third bucket of the digital diet, is using it for connection and using it for networking. Now, I want to pause here a little bit and talk about networking when it comes to parents and adults and professionals. The truth is, some of the connections I've made over the last year using virtual networking has been amazing. Because we all couldn't see ourselves physically, we couldn't wait for an event to go there physically. I actually used the online space very strategically to make some amazing connections with people. So it's really important that we look at the digital space and use it to our advantage. We shouldn't see it as is all. I keep saying it is not all bad by itself. If you eat all day, non-stop, 24 hours a day, you are going to have health challenges. So there's a good use of food and there's an abuse of food. There's no difference when it comes to digital consumption. So that's how I'm, drawing the analogy. And then the last area I wanted to talk about in terms of the digital diet category, if you will, is when it comes to creating. Now, I'm sure a lot of us have heard there are influencers, there are creators, there's YouTubers, there are all these things, there are all these new roles, new industries, people that are using, the online space digital tools to make a lot of money, to impact the world, and to change their own lives. So when our children are online, we should be asking, what are they doing? Are they creating anything? Or are they just passively consuming content that other people are putting out there passively? I feel that that's a waste of everybody's time. If your child likes video games, have you considered signing them up for platforms that allows them to create their own video games? There are people that create their own video games, put it on some of these platforms, and guess what? They're getting paid because people are playing their games and buying whatever currency that particular game is selling. If they buy it in those children's games that have been created, those children are making money. So, the mindset shift that comes from looking at digital as a good thing, as something that needs to be managed, and something that needs to be thought about as a all-rounded, conversation, makes a huge difference even with your children. So whatever your children's interests are, you can find an online and offline expression for that. Just go and Google it. There are so many people that are making so much money and making impact and doing what they're meant to be doing on earth because they are using digital space as well. So once you ask yourself, what are your children creating? What are they doing to add value to this huge online space that we have? Or do they just sit down passively on YouTube, for example, watching video after video after video? They have no time to talk about what they learned. They have no time to try their own hand, and there's no limit. So I'll give you some quick examples. Your child likes to play music. They can create sounds online. There are DJ systems online now. Your children can create sounds. Your child likes to write. They can have a blog. Your child likes to do toy reviews. I'm not sure if you've heard of the children making millions of money on YouTube just because they are reviewing toys, right? So there's so many things your children could do. Your children can start a blog, can start creating games online. If your child likes taking photographs, there's something called digital photography. So your child can learn how to take photographs, sell it online, post it online. Honestly, there's no limit. It's endless. So I'm going to just reiterate the areas of the digital diet I talked about that we need to mix and think of it that way for our children, our families, and create our own family's digital diet. Now, we have about 10-11 minutes left to go. So if you have any questions, this is a good time to start to drop it in the Q&A chat. And if there are any questions, I will take them from there. If not, I will also answer some questions that parents have asked me in the past around this concept of family's digital diet. So to summarize, a family digital diet means that digital consumption, being online, screen time, it's not yes or no, it is yes and no. It is within the right context, within the right mix. If you're eating food, for example, one of my favorite meals is rice, stew, and dodo, and chicken. And of course, I would like to put a little salad there as well for vegetables. That's a balanced diet. But if somebody just gave me a bowl of rice with nothing accompanying it, I would be like, how far? What do you want me to do with this? So that's the same way I see digital consumption. It's a mix of everything. So let's remember the categories I spoke about before. If anybody remembers, throw them in. Or if you want to type them in now for people who want to maybe just, follow through. The first one is the learning buckets. Your child must use the internet to be educated. Most children right now, at least over the last year, were learning online in some shape or form. So you can't be somebody who hates online because your children had to learn online. So the truth is that education is important and digital is bringing education right to our doorsteps. So there's so many things that we need to use online for positively, and that includes education and learning. The second category is entertainment/relaxation. We all need to relax. We all need to have fun. So there's nothing wrong at all with consuming content online for entertainment, videos, movies, Netflix, whatever you want to use, TikTok, Instagram. All of these entertainment tools exist, and it is fine. Social media, once again, it is within the right context, within the right framework, not letting your children stay non-stop online, just like you shouldn't as a parent. You need to have balance within that. The third area is connection and networking. It's really important, especially during this last year again, where most people could not travel, could not go to school. We were at home for quite a while. It's important that we are able to use the digital tools that exist to connect with people. And for example, a toddler who uses video calls to connect with grandma or an auntie or an uncle is very different from a toddler who sits down consuming content passively online. The learning and the engagement that same toddler is experiencing in those two scenarios is very different. So it is how you use the tools. So let's use it for connection, use it for meeting people. I spoke earlier about virtual networking. It's something that a lot of us can be using better to connect with the people that we want to connect with anywhere in the world. We live in a time that's borderless. That means whether I'm in London, Nigeria, Kenya, Australia, it doesn't matter. If I want to connect with somebody and I can find them online, I can reach out to them. And the last part under the consumption, the diet blocks, is creating. Is your child using digital and online at all to create anything? Obviously, depending on the age of the child. You know, I mentioned earlier too about some children, I forget where they're from. It was my children that brought these kids to my attention. They are really young and they unbox toys on YouTube. So they unbox toys and they review the toys. And they're making millions because children just like watching them review toys. And I was like, are you serious? So there's so many things going on in this world that if you stay in that stage of dinosaur saying, oh, the internet is all bad, online is all bad, you'll be losing a lot of opportunities. And I've seen a lot of children who are frustrated that their parents don't understand that there's a lot of good they can be doing online. So remember, it's not about yes or no. It is about yes and no. It is about having the right diet, the right mix, some for entertainment, some for learning, some for connecting and networking. And of course, this is probably where we should spend a little bit more time. Encourage your child to create. How are they going to add value to the online space? Do they like music? Can they write music? Do they like writing? Can they start a blog? You know, do they like drawing? There's digital art. And the beautiful thing with the world we live in today is your child can express themselves from a very early age. And they will learn a lot of things if they start expressing themselves at an early age and creating as well. What you are essentially doing is you're teaching him or her to be a responsible digital citizen by understanding how to use online tools and screen time in the right way and in the right format. Okay, so that's what I had to cover today about creating your family's digital diet. I hope this quick nuggets or quick conversations on this topic of Tech Thursday for Parents today was useful. I want everyone to enhance and embrace the good sides of online consumption while reducing the negative sides. So I think our next topic will really be around how do we reduce the negatives online. Today we've talked about creating a healthy family digital diet. And this is for mom and dad too. If you have certain rules in your home around a family diet, which maybe includes no devices at meal times, then you also have to, live up to that. You can't say, children, during mealtime, you don't use devices, but when it's time for dinner or you are eating, you are using your phone. Our children do what we do, not what we say. So let's remember that even when it comes to digital space, okay? So thank you for everyone who tuned in and who's here. As always, this will be available for replay on our page on IGTV, so watch out for that. You'll be able to play it back and take notes and ask any questions. So let me scroll through and see if we have any questions at all from our audience let me see. Any questions? All right, we don't have any questions so far. That's fine, but I'm going to answer one question I get a lot, and I even still discussed this today with one of my parents. They wanted to know how much time is too much when it comes to screen time. Who else would like to know that? I wish there was a magic number that said after 1 hour is bad. The truth is there's no one magic number in terms of how long you should spend online. But what you want to keep in mind is pay attention to how your children feel and behave when they get offline. What I mean is, if a child has been online for a very long time, when you ask them to get off, depending on how they feel or how they react, sometimes that gives you quite an insight into if your child has been consuming healthy content online or negative content. And I'll make this practical. A lot of our children who are playing violent video games, it's bad for them. When they get offline, when they get off playing these violent video games, because the video games are all being made in such a real way, it feels as if the children are actually in the game. You know, all this advancement means things feel much more 3D. In fact, sometimes it feels like 5D. So the child the brain cannot separate the fact that that is a game. So once the child gets off that violent, shooting, shouting, running environment that they were immersed in it, they literally, their brain feels like they've been in that high stress situation. And when you tell them, oh yeah, it's time to get off, come and have dinner, or you've been on for too long, shut it down, and your child is very violent and aggressive, that can be why. And it is happening a lot. So please pay attention to how long they're spending online. There's no magic answer. You need to be able to determine if it's 1 hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours per day you are going to give them, give it to them and break up the chunks. Okay, so school is very different, but if your child is online playing video games, maybe you give them 2 hours a day. And this is where parental software comes in. You have to install parental software so that you can monitor and you can put guides in place. All right, so it is about helping them to navigate and to self-regulate. And for them to learn how to self-regulate, mommy and daddy, caregivers, you need to help them with that. So that's what I would say in terms of how long is too long or how much time should they be on. You need to determine that and pay attention to how they feel when they get off. Okay? Fantastic. Yes, Lara is saying your children are not allowed tabs or gadget during the week. Yes, a lot of parents do that. I used to do that actually until the children actually got when it became online school, we kind of had to, and then in one of my children's classes, they needed to use their phones to take picture of something they did on the screen. So it was really difficult. So we're all navigating this thing. There's no perfect way, but that is one way. Give them limited access to tablets and gadgets, for example, during the week. But it's not even about access to the gadgets. It's about what they even do online. Because the truth is, when the weekend comes, like you're saying, it becomes hard to control. It's almost better for a child who gets 1 hour every day than a child who doesn't get any time online. Then when it comes to the weekend, they are now on it 24 hours a day from Friday evening till Sunday evening. So you really want to balance it out, and it's fine to do that, but then on the weekend, make sure there's also still controls in place and, have them do other things. And that's one last tip. We can't say, don't be online, and we leave it there. What should they do otherwise? So we need to get creative with them because they are digital natives. So they're like, what do you want me to be doing if I'm not online? So that's where we need to get creative, and we need to help them with activities offline that will be just as exciting. Well, maybe not quite, but you get the idea. That could help them also still have fun without being online. So you're absolutely right, Lara. Thank you for sharing that. It can be really tough to find the right balance, but what we must do is just continuously being intentional and paying attention to, what seems like too much. For some children, is 1 hour of video games is more than enough for them to be in a bad mood for the rest of the evening because they've been playing violent video games. And for somebody else, because she's online, for example, for 2 hours, gisting with friends in some kind of, group online chat, and they're having fun and playing games, she gets off and she's in a good mood because she's just spent quality time with her friends online. So it's really a balance. There's no hard and fast rule, but what we must do is put the controls in place, put some guidelines in place, and let them know that you're doing it for a reason. So conversations are important, communication is important. All right, thank you so much for being here on our edition of Tech Thursday for Parents. We talked about creating your family's digital diet today. Everybody needs one. You can play this again to try and get some tips on how to create your family's digital diet, what to consider, all online consumption is not the same. Some is great, some is negative. So you need to limit the negative while you're increasing the positive benefits of being online. And we can all do it. We just need to know what to do and how to implement the steps bit by bit. You can always find me and my team at LagosMums on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We're at LagosMums. And our website is LagosMums.com, where we have a lot of information on parenting, everything from having your baby all the way to choosing schools and extracurricular and so much more. We have a particular category called technology and parenting that has a lot of information around raising successful digital citizens. So you want to be sure to check it out because, honestly, a lot of us are learning, and the more we learn, the more we get insight from experts who've been there or are doing research around these matters and how it is affecting our mental state and health and lifestyle, the better for us. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Like we said, this happens every Thursday, 7 to 7:30. We pick a topic. If you have anything you'd like me to talk about, slide into my DM and let me know, and I can prepare an episode around that for you. Bye, everyone. Thanks.